This review has been made possible by Toyota of Naperville. As you know, Toyota has tons of brand new Toyotas available for purchase, but did you know that they also have a remarkable selection of used cars? Head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com and look through hundreds of used cars for sale right now.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2018 Audi Q3 Premium. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4 and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, I really wanted to get my hands on a Q3 because it hasn't really been here for too long. It's been manufactured since 2012, but only came to the States in 2015. And it being a smaller Audi product, I haven't driven many of them, so I'd like to get my hands on one. And now I finally have the opportunity to do so. We'll start off with the drivetrain. Like I said, up front is that 2-liter turbo. Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, they're big fans of this sort of layout. 2-liter turbo seems to be their creme de la creme of engine. They use it in pretty much everything. Even the base Porsche Macan has it. A lot of Volkswagen products have it, and a lot of Audi products have it. And this is one of them. It has a K04 Borg-Warner turbo, which is a pretty reliable turbo. It's not the biggest thing in the world. It's pretty small, but it's a well-known turbo, and that's a good thing because you can find them off of a lot of different cars. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Has sport mode. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And this is the Quattro, which means it is all-wheel drive. Now, you could actually get a Q3 with front-wheel drive, but this is the all-wheel drive version. Quattro is just the slang term Audi uses for all-wheel drive. There's the Audi R8 Quattro, all-wheel drive. That's what that means. So, we are on the test track. We are up to temperature. Let's see what the little 2-liter turbo can do in sport mode. All right, we're gonna do the back straightaway today. Just to change things up, So, put it down into sport. Okay. It seems to spool the turbo at about 4,000 RPM, which is higher. Here's the thing about that, is that you don't feel the turbo power until about 4,000 RPM, which means when you're cruising, driving around town, going to lunch, going to soccer practice, whatever it may be, you're not using the turbo and you're not consuming extra fuel that a turbo needs, so you get good gas mileage. But when you do have to pass someone, your MPGs will take a big tumble, but it's not the end of the world. Speaking of MPGs, we get 20 in the city and 28 on the highway, which isn't terrible, but for a small vehicle like this, I wish it got a little bit better fuel economy on the highway. Power, 200 horsepower and 207 foot-pounds of torque, which again isn't anything crazy, but it's not also the bottom of the barrel. It's a happy medium. Now let's move on to the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. On the left is my tachometer with the coolant in the center of it. Then on the right, I have my speedometer with fuel in the center of it. And then I have a little screen I can change in the middle. So I can scroll through a couple different things, my MPG, miles per hour and digits, miles I've been driving the car currently, as well as I get, of course, my odometer and my radio station up at the top. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my controls for that center screen, as well as on the right, I have voice commands, navigation, and a little asterisk button, a little star button. This can be programmed to do one of 2 things. I can either change radio and media or next track or channel. That's very nice. I like that it's just simple. It's one thing and I can customize it how I want to have it. If I own this Q3, I would have it set to change track, but maybe the next owner of the Q3 would want it to be change media. That's really nice, and I think more cars should take advantage of buttons like that. But overall, I really like the steering wheel. It feels very Audi, and so do the gauges that we just talked about. So I'll talk about that at the end of the video, how I really like that. To the left of me, I do have my headlight switches as well as dimmer switches. Very nice. And on the door, I have lock and unlock, power windows, power mirrors, and mirror defrost, mirror heaters actually, which is very nice. In the center, I do get a little radio. This is pretty outdated and pretty small, even by 2018 standards. It is what it is, and as far as I can tell, it is not a touchscreen. It's okay, it does the job, but it is not a touchscreen, and it seems to be kind of low resolution, at least lower resolution than found in other Volkswagen and Audi products. Moving down the dash, we have two huge climate control vents, and then our Audi Media Center, which is just, you know, all my radio controls, menu, navigation, info, back, skip track, things like that. What I don't like is that there's a scroll dial right in the middle. That's actually to change functions or navigate through the center screen. I wish that that was lower down here on the center console. However, I do realize that there is pretty much no space down there. But if you do want to change lengthy settings, you know, that'll take a while, you have to hold your arm up. And I know that's such a blah excuse, but most cars have it down on the center console for that reason. Below those controls, I do have traction control off, my parking sensors on and off, and my hill descent control, which is a nice feature to have in any vehicle. Then we get my climate controls a little tucked away. They're their own little command station. I do have heated seats, which it specifies that it only heats the bottom of the seat and not the back of the seat. Kind of interesting. And also, our start-stop button is down here, which is kind of interesting. Then we have the shifter. Looks like any other Audi shifter. Nothing really too crazy. I'm not blown away, but it's also not bad. It doesn't feel that plasticky. It does feel a little bit plasticky, but not the end of the world. And then I have my power parking brake cup holder and center console. Up above me, obviously, I do have this very beautiful sunroof, but I also do have 3 different garage door openers on the left here and some nice lights. Now, the seats are decently comfortable. They are power, which I really, really like. They are not memory, but they are power and heated, so I can definitely live with that. They are this sort of thick leather, solid leather. They are not perforated, so they look heavy, but that's just aesthetically. Now we will hop around back. We'll talk about the back seat and the cargo space. All right, so we're in the back of the 2018 Audi Q3. Couple things to note here. First of all, have this neat little pop-out cup holder. I'll try to get a shot of that. Nice little center console as well, but this does fold up. The seats are actually not that bad. My knees are not hitting the seats, and I have maybe an inch and a half of headroom, and I am 5'11". A lot of people ask that for reference. So I'm actually not uncomfortable back here, and that's hard to find with SUVs this small. With vehicles this small is you tend to run into issues of space, honestly. We will hop around the trunk and take a look at the cargo room. So we do have this nice little privacy cover here, which is pretty nice. I do have this really cool Audi first aid kit. It's pretty neat. Little 12-volt outlet back here. Not too much. I mean, it is what it is. It's a smaller SUV, so it's to be expected that it doesn't have a whole lot of space. One button up here closes the tailgate, which is very nice. Now we have to talk about the looks. The more and more I look at the Q3, the more and more I like it. I think it is a decent looking SUV or CUV or whatever segment they're now calling this today. The small SUV. I like the look of it. It looks very Audi, it looks very German, and that is one of my final talking points about the Q3. First of all, this is based off of a MQB platform. And what that means is that auto manufacturers use the same or a very similar platform across different cars. This saves money because you only have to really build one platform and then fit it out as you see fit or as the car sees fit. It's just the starting base. So this is called an MQB, and it shares that platform with all of these. I will show a list of all of the cars it shares a platform with. I mean, some notable ones, the Golf GTI, obviously, being my favorite. There's a lot of cars on that list. There's a lot of cars. And so what does that mean? Well, it's cheap to manufacture. That's just it. I mean, it's like starting every single car with the same blueprint, because really that's what they are doing. So with a car like that that shares so many platforms, I would think that this would be very cookie cutter, that this would feel very bland, but it doesn't. This feels very, very Audi. If someone said, what would an Audi small, tiny SUV look and feel like? This is exactly what it would look and feel like. And I love that. I love the consistency within a brand. And now this might be a slightly obscure reference, but if anyone has ever played the game from, I believe, 2006 or 7 called Crackdown, you are a superhuman cop in that game, and you level up. And as you level up your driving skill, when you get into a car, it sort of gets bigger and bigger. So when you're top rank and you get in a car, it grows to be this huge monster of a car. That's how I feel about this. This is a very entry-level beginner car, but if this were in the game Crackdown and I were a top level, I would get in and this thing would level up to a Q7. Like, is this metaphor working? Like, I feel like this is like the starter one, and as you level up, and it makes sense, the progression towards the larger SUVs. I see all of the little accents of it. I see that these gauges would get a little bit bigger for the Q5. This steering wheel would get a couple more buttons for the Q7. This is the fundamental building block for the rest of Audi's lineup, and I love that because this doesn't feel like a cheap throwaway car that Audi built just to make money off of people who want the Audi name but can't afford the other cars. So I have to say, I am thoroughly impressed and happy with the Q3. I really thought that it was going to be a throwaway Audi, but alas, it isn't. This is an Audi product. This is an Audi. This is exactly what I think an Audi small SUV should be. And it is. Nothing more, nothing less. And I appreciate the consistency. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me take out their Q3. This is one of their used cars, but they have hundreds of other used cars on the lot. If you're not interested in Audi or Toyota, please still head on over to toyotaofnaperville.com to check out their inventory. I promise you they have a car that will suit your needs. Absolutely great service. They are taking appointments right now. So if you're in need of a car, I'd highly recommend checking them out. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.